What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from ActionMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today we're going to talk about High Potential. It's the new ABC procedural. We'll go with that. I've seen the first two episodes now, and they also air next day on Hulu. Presumably both with audio description, but they didn't get the first episode up in time for when I watched it, but they did the second episode. So I'm going to assume that the first episode retroactively got audio description at some point? Question mark? Anyway. So, I've seen High Potential 50% with audio description. Not a great ratio to begin with, but it stars Caitlin Olsen, who is known for a couple things. One of them being It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but also maybe like The Mick, depending on how you consume TV. And Daniel Sinjata, who I've been a fan of for a long time, ever since he was on Rescue Me back in the day. I always root for him every time he has an opportunity to star in something. Always seems to not pan out. He's also in movies like The Devil Wears Prada. It's sort of like one of those faces that you will recognize. You're like, where do I know him from? I actually remember his name because he impressed me. Javisha Leslie is in this. And you're like, who? She was Batwoman, but she was the replacement Batwoman when they decided to do that. So when they decided to get rid of Ruby Rose and replace Batwoman on the CW's Batwoman, she was the second Batwoman that came in. So it's good to see she's still getting work because she didn't do a bad job. She just had such a weird entry, you know what I'm saying? Like, welcome. Here's a bizarre TV history moment for you. And we've got Judy Reyes from Scrubs, who's been doing some really excellent dramatic work recently in movies like Turtles All the Way Down and Birth Rebirth. So I'm pretty excited for this at this point. It is just like a procedural, but it's in how you do it to make it interesting. I'm not a huge fan of procedurals, which is why I don't watch like Law and Order SVU. I tried Organized Crime for a while because of it felt like a season-long story arc. It does get caught up a little bit in the old Law and Order tropes, which makes it feel like sort of that feeling that you could turn it on at any time and you're not really sure what season this is or if there's any connective tissue to anything. But I like linear storytelling as opposed to season 18 episode 4 feeling the exact same as season 12 episode 17. You know what I'm saying? Like where you're just like able to, when they run sort of like in syndication and they're like completely different like seasons and you're like, I don't even know what's going on, but this all just magically works together. So the linear storytelling in High Potential is that our lead, played by Caitlin Olsen, is a mother struggling to take care of her kids. She has a best friend who's her cousin or I don't know something, but he is taking care of the kids and like when she's not working, helping out, you know. I'm not like 100% sure about what their relationship is. It's sort of vague at this point, but I'm sure we'll dive into more of him as a character as the series progresses. Because I'm pretty certain at this point he's a series regular. He has to be, but he has such little screen time. But he's been in both episodes. So, and then same thing with her kids. It's like they kind of develop, but not really. So Morgan is, she has a high IQ. Now this is where the series kind of loses me because the IQ really isn't that high. This is not like a brag thing, but I was tested as a kid and mine is not that far off from hers, and I don't have like magical powers to be able to like help the to be able to help the police. They act like 160 is like some sort of like incredibly high IQ to where she's able to like have almost some sort of savant procedure through life where she's like, I remember all of these facts and able to put them all together and see everything. I see things that people don't see. And it's just like, maybe we could have made her number higher so that way it actually felt like, wow, 180, 200, I don't know, something like where it's like, wow, she is genius level. 160, I felt like the people who wrote the show didn't know how many 160s there were in the world, and they thought that was high, and they were like, well, yeah, it's maybe like it's not too high because we don't want it to seem like it's unattainably high. No, you want it to seem like it's unattainably high because that's supposed to be her thing. Like her magical like superpower for the course of this series, if this series were to run like 7 seasons or something like that, is supposed to be the fact that she's so smart that she notices all this stuff without any particular skill set. Her skill set is her brain. So you actually do want it to be high. You don't want it to like just tap out. And, we don't want to lose the audience, with I'm smarter than you complex. That's all in how Caitlin plays the character. She could play this character either way. I'm just saying I would have changed the number and bumped it up. Then again, if you don't really know what it is that you're writing and you just think that numbers, and you're like, well, on the scale, this seems high to me. It's like, it's not really that high. Anywho, so I guess I could be working for the police department and they could be turning to me. I'm going to take this series to the police department and be like, this is mine. This is my IQ. And high potential says I should be working for you. So let's go. I'll tell you everything that you're doing wrong with your life. So she gets recruited and first in the first episode, it's not so much recruited as she kind of happens to notice some stuff that's wrong and fixes it, which ends up sort of like solving the case. In the first episode, she's helpful, and then they're like, you know what, we should keep you around. In the second episode, it shows you more of what the series is going to be like with her sort of integrated into the team. So the first episode is sort of like explaining how we get there, and the second episode is more representative of what the series is going to be like going forward. I like both episodes. Even the first episode without audio description, I thought structurally was interesting. I thought it introduced the characters well. Obviously, not everybody in the police department likes her. So, but some people see her value, and they're like, she helped to solve a crime that we wouldn't have solved otherwise. So why not? Why not have her as like a consultant thing? So, yeah, this could be good. It's a little like Will Trent, but without Will Trent having a badge, and without sort of like regionally specific culture that Will Trent brings along with it. It feels like it fits into ABC's brand that is working really well for them right now with shows like Will Trent, The Rookie, sort of these light procedural cop ensemble comedy type things, like not totally dramatic, but not not like these heavy shows, but also at the same time not like a straight up comedy. It's balancing kind of both worlds. So yeah, I see the value that ABC has with this show, and I can see why they would want to use this moving forward. It feels like the kind of show that would work for them. I wouldn't be surprised if this survives the season and gets picked up for a second season. It has high potential, as you might say. Audio description is done by Vitek. I love this narrator. I don't know what her name is. She gets everything. Again, ABC switched companies last year, and the audio description quality dipped. It was not a good sign that audio description did not pass to Hulu next day. By the time so I could watch that first episode on Hulu the next day, but they got it in time for the second day. It's underwhelming. It's not necessarily where it should be. I mean, there are times where it's not totally that I'm like lost, but at the same time, I feel like there is more engaging audio description that exists that brings me more into the world. There's a difference. So there's like something in the middle where it's just like, well, we've done the bare minimum. We've done what we have to do, and welcome. And that's kind of what this feels like, because there are plenty of times where there was a break and they didn't use it because they didn't feel like there was anything, I guess, like extremely pertinent to offer. But there's also, you're still helping us shape the show and shape these characters and their choices. And there are a bunch of little things that you can always use those little breaks for to help flesh it out. I think there's maybe some, I don't know, scientific thing happening where they think that if we do too much audio description, it becomes too busy for people. Maybe that's what they're worried about. I have no idea, but definitely there were moments where I was like, well, that we could have gotten something, a reaction, a facial expression, a comment about the location. You know, I mean, like so many different things that would have helped. Remember, we get nothing. So visually. So anything that you bring us through the audio description helps bring us more into the show. So the shows that are going to bring us, that are going to get us to watch, are going to be the ones that bring us the most in, that have us the most invested in the show. A show like High Potential is just, with the audio description that it's at, is almost riding on the fact of, well, we hope that you're interested in these cases. We hope that you find this character engaging, because the audio description isn't going to sell it. The audio description is going to make it sort of like barely minimum passable, because it's still a crime mystery genre. So we have to be able to follow the clues. So if we can't do that, then we've completely lost out on that. I haven't done my review of Murder in a Small Town because I want to know how that show works over the course of 2 episodes. Because the first episode is formatted in a way, but I would say the fact that that doesn't have audio description when it passes through to Hulu does bring the level of that show down, because again, it's a murder mystery. So it's like when the clues are being pointed out and they're like, well, look over there. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck over there is, you know? I mean, so yeah, it is very important to have those kind of things. And because there is like some basic level of audio description here, High Potential ends up sort of crossing that threshold. But audio description could do more for the series, and it could bring it further along. Like there's a chance here to really bring dynamic audio description in here and to really grab an audience and bring us in. But that doesn't really happen. CBS sort of has better audio description. They use primarily Media Access Group. And across the board, Media Access Group tends to provide better audio description and more immersive, and use as many opportunities to create this world that the show is in for us. Whereas Vitek, which is now doing audio description for ABC, everything I think except Grey's Anatomy, yeah, it's just not. So, I like the narrator though. I mean, like, I don't want to shit on her. I kind of feel like these are fine voices and narrators that they're using. And I've heard her on other things. Yeah, I think she's fine. I wish she could jump out of Vitek and find work with better companies. I wish ABC would find a better company than Vitek. I'm not super excited about this pairing. And I would think that like in your second year at ABC, by now it would be clicking. By now you'd be like, okay, well, we got this. We know how to tell help support these great stories. But I don't think that that's true. So it's not terrible audio description. I've definitely heard worse. And then you open up a whole other bag when you get into AI audio description and, stuff that's TTS and some of the stuff that Amazon's doing, and they're not quality checking it. So it like overlays on top of dialogue. And it's like, I've heard so much really bad audio description that I would delete. I've heard just poorly written audio description. I've got some reviews pending of some anniversary stuff where I heard the audio description track and I'm like, well, this isn't even widely available, and I would re-record it. I wouldn't even make this available. So yeah, there is very much a spectrum in audio description, and some people have really messed up over the years and not produced remotely near quality audio description. But at the same time, this is sort of new, and this is 2024, and they're producing brand new audio description, and that you can say that, like, well, there was a learning curve. So we're here in 2024. Where's the learning curve? Essentially, me trolling Vitek would be the same as somebody trolling films that have poor visual effects in 2024, where it's like, why does that look terrible? Like, why does that look like a terrible visual effect in 2024 when we have like Avatar? Why is it that looks awful? And that happens quite frequently with sighted people. So I kind of feel like it is that. It's like, great. I mean, you did a visual effect, but it looks fake as hell. I feel like it's like, great, you did audio description, but it's just not, compared to where everyone else is, you're not there. So are you okay with being 3 steps behind everybody? I don't know. So high potential has high potential, which I feel like I'm sure a lot of critics have made that joke. They're like, oh, it has high potential. It's like, oh God. Anyway, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm here for it. I'm going to keep watching it. I'm not going to keep recapping it because that's unnecessary. But I would recommend you check out the show. Just know that the audio descriptions is going to be okay. It's not going to be anything you're going to be like, wow, that audio description, man, damn, I felt like I was really there, it's just going to be very basic. So, all right. I have high hopes for high potential. So I'm going to give it a B+. I like the cast. I think those are 4 really good, strong TV choices. And even just with those 4 people, I know the cast is deeper than that, but just pointing out those 4 people, I think that makes an interesting show. You tell me those 4 people in a show together, and I'm like, that's interesting to me. Those are really good choices. People who have produced really strong work somewhere across TV have teamed up together, like some sort of TV Avengers for high potential, and I'm here for it. So yeah, one of the better shows. So anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the other side.